What? Are you actually trying to tell me I can eat flowers? Seriously? Can I? Honestly, what do I have to say about that? Can I eat a snapdragon? I can. When you were little, did you squeeze a snapdragon and make them talk to you? We always did that. Hello, how are you? It was a silly thing that we did when we were kids. And when I was a child, I never ate a snapdragon because I didn't realize that I could. Now here's a little bit of a note before we start talking about eating flowers. Not all flowers are edible. Some of them are very poisonous. And so you have to know what flowers you can and cannot eat. Don't just assume, oh, it's a flower, so I can eat it. You can't. There's plenty of them you can't eat. Another thing to think about is if you have asthma or if you have a lot of allergies, I'd be real cautious eating edible flowers. I would try them very slowly to see how it reacts with your body. Just to be careful. But flowers are a great addition. Oh, you can put pansies in salads. You can put snapdragons in cakes, cookies. Break off the lavender and you can put those flowers in your cookies. I like to sometimes put them in ice cubes. And then when I'm serving beverages, you have those tiny, pretty flowers in your glass. You can throw them in smoothies. How about teas, syrups, sauces? You can use them in a lot of different ways. Like a nasturtium is very peppery when you eat the flower. And so that could make a really good sauce that you're adding nasturtiums to over meat because of that peppery taste. There's ones that are very lemony. All of them have a unique, different flavor. And that's really interesting, and I like that. So we're going to take a little tour around the gardens, and I'm going to show you some of the flowers that you may not know you can eat. If you grow rosemary and it goes to flower, those flowers are edible. Pansies are one of the most healthy flowers to eat. There's so many edible flowers, including petunias. Old-fashioned hollyhocks are also edible. Not only does lavender smell wonderful, but the flowers are edible. As our sunflowers grow taller and taller and taller, don't forget how many times we eat sunflower seeds. Those flowers are edible. Dill flowers are also edible. There's so many things around our garden that we can actually eat. Flowers from squash and pumpkins, you can dip them in batter and even fry them up. Leeks, chives, garlic flowers, they're all edible. So when your lemon balms or mints go to flower, you can eat those too. The bees will surround all the different flowers and you can pick them off and use them too. Borage is a herb that you can also eat the flowers. And you just pull it on the center and it comes right off. They're great in the garden, they're great in flower beds, and they're edible. My favorite flowers. And they're edible, so it's a bonus. Calendulas are another flower that really, it has some good health benefits, and it really attracts the bees in. Even the lovely roses are edible. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. So many flowers when you start to think about it. And we're just going to talk about 40 of them, something like that. I'm going to put some charts up so that you can see, and I'll divide them into flowers, herbs, vegetables, trees and shrubs, and even weeds, the flowers that you can eat. Now, some of my favorite flowers to eat is borage, which some people consider herb, some people would consider it a flower. I consider it both. But like daylilies, a lot of us grow daylilies, and you can eat that flower. You can actually pickle that. The flower before it opens up and you pickle it, it's scrumptious. But there's impatiens, there's chamomile. Now, a thing to remember, a rose geranium is edible, but all the other geraniums are not edible. So you have to know what you have before you eat it. But it's really interesting that you can just forage through your gardens. And a lot of times when your vegetables go to seed, you know, like all of a sudden your radishes bolt, you can eat those flowers. Your lettuce bolts, scarlet runner beans, garden peas. Those are great vegetables that you can eat their flowers. Now for trees and shrubs, every single citrus flower is edible. So if you live in the South and you have grapefruits or lemons or limes, any of the citruses, you can eat those flowers. And they're just wonderful adding to a salad. For weeds, I looked around my yard and what I could think of is dandelions. You can eat the yellow part of the dandelion. You can eat basically all the dandelion. And clover. Because a lot of times on our wild parts of our yards, you get clover coming up and you can eat that. I just think it's a fun addition, especially to salads. I sometimes like to throw them on pizzas because it's just interesting. Now, a pansy, they come in so many different colors, which is different than a violet. Some people call these Johnny Jump-Ups. And the pansy itself is really a healthy plant. It's a healthy flower to eat. A calendula is a really healthy flower to eat. I make a lot of dry a lot of calendula and I put it in my salves and my lotions. I actually made calendula wine a couple years ago just because I wanted something medicinal, that if somebody wasn't feeling good, I knew that with all those health properties it would be good for them. But any of the, if you go into herbs, any of your alliums like chives, leeks, garlic, all those flowers are edible. And they're going to give you that flavor. It's very strong and pungent and it's great. If you let your rosemary go to flower, you could eat those. Dill, fennel, bee balms, all the mints, you could eat those. Thyme, oregano, sage, just so many things that you can consume that's just growing in your gardens. That just adds a little touch of something different into your salads or your soups or your cakes or your cookies, anything that you're making. Or you can just take them, like borage, I love eating those, they were kind of cucumbery tasting. And you eat a Johnny Jump-Up. It's tasty. Some of them will have more flavor than other ones. And I don't know if it's the color that does that or what. But it's beautiful in your salads. Now, some people just grow herbs just for the herb itself. But sometimes time gets away with you, all of a sudden starts to flower. And if you're going to cut those flowers off anyway, why not use them? And throw some mint in something you're making. Throw some oregano, some borage, anything you want, add. So I'm going to insert some charts just so that you can stop the video if you want to and you can just read right through, because there's probably 20 flowers I could think of that you could eat, 10 herbs, some vegetables, and your trees and shrubs. But it's amazing what you can find in your yard to add beauty to your cooking, flavors, and just to add a little pizzazz into your life. So if you like flowers, like the video. If you subscribe to the idea that you can eat those flowers, subscribe to my channel. See how I correlated that? It's just so funny. It pops in my brain. I don't know where it comes from. But this is Sandy at Apple Cottage. I appreciate you stopping by. And believe me, you can eat. I could eat every single one of these flowers. Have a great day.